Hi, this is Chris Young, and welcome to Good News on Tap for Ascension Sunday. Ascension Sunday? That sounds kind of strange. When I was growing up, it was always celebrated on Ascension Thursday. But unfortunately, in our modern world, people have a hard time taking time out on a weekday, so the church has moved this important solemnity to Sunday, where we can give it the attention that it deserves. Our gospel reading today is at the very end of Mark's gospel, and the first reading is at the very beginning of the Acts of the Apostles. Both readings tell the story of Jesus' ascension into heaven. Now, there are some ancient manuscripts of Mark's gospel that are a little bit shorter, and they do not include today's reading from the gospel. If Mark's gospel had really ended there, what might have happened? Jesus commands them to go out and preach the gospel to all creation. But what if they didn't do it? Well, there's some evidence there was a risk of that happening, because in the beginning of the Acts of the Apostles, after Jesus ascends into heaven, it says the apostles just stood there staring up into the skies. It was only after some men in white robes mysteriously appeared next to them, saying basically, "What are you guys doing hanging around here for? Get back to Galilee. Get about the business that Jesus told you to do." Well, they did go back to Galilee, but as we'll read next week on Pentecost, they were just sitting around doing nothing. Fortunately, Jesus promised them something before he left. He promised that the Holy Spirit was coming, and we'll hear all about that in next week's readings. We'll hear about the transformation that occurred in these rather timid and fearful followers who weren't sure what to do now that Jesus was gone. We're in a similar situation. We've heard the good news, we've journeyed with Jesus, but now what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to sit around in our room waiting to see what happens next? Now, it's wonderful that we go to church on Sunday and look to the sky and offer praise and worship to God. But if that's all we do, then we've missed an important part of the message. Did we think that the gospel was for us alone? Or are we going to take to heart what Mark tells us when Jesus said, "Go out into the world and preach to all of creation"? If the story really did end there, then proclaiming the good news would be a very difficult task. It would seem impossible to us. But the Holy Spirit, which is coming on Pentecost, makes the impossible very possible. And the Father may be up in heaven, and Jesus may be seated at his right hand, but down here on earth, we're not alone. We have the Holy Spirit with us. And that's Good News on Tap for Ascension Sunday.